All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the 5 C's of a successful farming strategy. My name is Jo Teeter. I'm a training manager with RPR and I'll be your instructor today. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, please use the Q&A box, type in your questions, and we'll make sure we get those answered today before we leave. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now this is Claire Bezzardano-Chesnov. She is a broker owner in Staten Island, New York, and she shared her RPR story with us. So if you go into our blog and look up at the RPR stories, she'll tell you how she does her farming out in the Staten Island area. But this is RPR is kind of her go-to tool. I'm not quite sure how she's doing things now with the pandemic that's going on. But she basically said telephone solicitations are no longer effective and marketing pieces such as postcards can be valuable, but our great reward comes from establishing relationships in neighborhoods by meeting people on their sidewalks and in their living rooms. And I think when we're thinking about our farming area, I think we really need to think, okay, what's going to be the best way to get in contact with these people, get to know them, not on a face-to-face, because I don't think a lot of people feel comfortable with that yet, but maybe meeting them, on their patio or on their porch, and you at the sidewalk, just so you can get a face-to-face meeting somehow with them and build up those relationships and get them into your database so you can start marketing to them. So this is just one agent. And again, if you go into our blog and look up the RPR stories, look up hers, she'll give you a good play-by-play on what she basically does farming. But I'm going to give you lots of ideas on what you can do also, hopefully. So today we're going to learn how to calculate your marketability in your neighborhood that you've selected, how to customize your farm area, how to converse with the homeowner, so things that you can do to stay in touch with that homeowner, conveying your value, and then also cultivating your brand awareness. So these are the 5 C's that we're going to be talking about today. Now, what is farming? For those of you that are not familiar with this type of prospecting, it's a geographical prospecting. So I did this when I first got into the business many, many years ago. I marketed to my neighborhood. I got to know all of my neighbors. And so I kind of recommend that you kind of start maybe in your neighborhood. If it's a good neighborhood, you really want to start doing a lot more business there, it's a great place to start. It is a proven method of marketing your business. It's a great way that I built my business up starting in the business back in the late 90s, marketing to my neighborhood. And I got a lot of referrals out of this. And I captured a lot of leads, when they knew other people in the area that needed my services. I was there to help them because I built up the relationship with those people and they got to know me as a human being. And then I also gained a lot of listings by doing this as well. And then if any for sale by owners happened to pop up in the neighborhood, it was an excellent opportunity to connect with them as well and possibly eventually get that listing when they got tired of trying to sell their property on their own. So these are just some of the things that you need to be aware of when you're thinking about your farming area. Is it a neighborhood that's nearby, easy to get to? Is it within your normal commute if you do happen to go into the office or eventually when we start going back into our offices? And are you able to touch each homeowner every 3 to 4 weeks? And I recommend some kind of contact with that person every 3 to 4 weeks. You want to keep your name out in front of that person so that when they need a real estate agent, they're going to come to you because you're the last one that sent them any marketing materials or anything, any contact. So you have to have access to your farm area. If you're picking an area that is a gated community and you don't have the gate code to get in, that might not be the best place to start. So start where you feel comfortable. You also want to have an acceptable turnover rate. Typically you want to see something that's at least 5% or higher so that you get a good turnover of people moving in and out of that area to keep your business going. But now with the pandemic that we've been experiencing this year, you may have to let that go a little bit, as I'm going to show you a neighborhood today that may or may not meet your criteria or this criteria. but it's something that you may want to do if it's your neighborhood. All right, and then you want to look at the activity. How many actives are currently in that neighborhood? How many pendings are currently in that neighborhood? How many sold in the past year? You know, how's the market doing in this area? Are the values increasing or decreasing? Are there a lot of distressed properties? If you don't feel comfortable working with distressed properties, then maybe that neighborhood isn't the area for you. So again, look at all these different things, and I'm going to show you how you can do this in RPR. Also, take a look at what your marketing budget is on a monthly basis. Hopefully everybody had set that at the beginning of the year. It's about time to rethink that for the next year. But you want to keep your cost and your resources in mind when you're doing this. You need to sustain your farm campaign consistently every single month, every 3 to 4 weeks, for over a year or two before you're going to start seeing those consistent referrals and consistent leads coming in to your business. And then market only to as many homes as your budget will allow each month consistently. Okay, yeah, I'm still on slide 5. Yes, I know. I see we got a comment here. Yes, I am still on slide 5. I'm going to be going into the RPR here in just a second. But again, I'm trying to think, where was I here? So again, market to only the number of homes that your budget will allow, or you can, start building up your systems, and then you can go ahead and add more as you get your system up and running. The other thing I want you to take a look at also is there one agent that currently dominates, or are there multiple agents that are in this area? Don't be afraid if it's one agent that's dominating the area. They may be ready for some new blood in that area. So again, lots of things to take a look at. So now let's go ahead, and let's take a look at how that all works. All right, so in your area, your public records has identified the neighborhoods. And if you don't know how a neighborhood is identified, I recommend that you go into the neighborhood tab right here, click on neighborhoods. I'm going to go ahead and put in Columbia, South Carolina, and you can do it by school district, or you can do it by zip code. You can also then click the down arrow here and choose within. And why you want to choose within, because it's going to show you all of the neighborhoods that are within that area that you have selected. So I'm going to go ahead and choose within. I'm going to go ahead and put a comma here, just in case it decides to get squirrely on me. So I'm going to go ahead and look at Columbia, South Carolina within, and I'm going to click search, and it's going to show me how the neighborhoods are identified in that area. Now you can filter over here on the left-hand side, maximum median estimated value. You can also choose the minimum 12 months change in value if you're looking for those neighborhoods that are going up in value or down, depending on which way you like to do your business. But you can see here, I've got it showing 100 places, and I've got them all sorted by name. So as I scroll down, here's Allen Mill in Columbia, and I can see what the median estimated home value is, the change over the last year, the number of homes that are currently for sale in that area, the median price, the days in the market, and then the number of homes in that neighborhood. When you're looking at this, take a look at what the median price is. Do you feel comfortable in that price range? Also take a look at the median days. If you've got a neighborhood where here, Alta Vista, median days is 122. If you have something that has a number that's, I would say maybe even over 100 or more days on the market, is that really a good turnover rate for you to keep your business sustained in this world? So you might want to find something that has, a higher turnover rate. In other words, maybe they're only on the market for, less than 45 days. That might be a good area to take a look at. But again, go in and take a look. You can also see the number of homes, and there are some others down here that have a lot more. So as I scroll down, you can see there's some that have smaller ones, and there's some that have larger ones. So again, take a look at all those numbers, look at your budget and your comfort zone, and then decide. All right, so then once you've done that, then you're going to go back to the Home tab here. You're going to click on the All Properties tab, and you're going to type in one of those neighborhoods that you have found. And I went ahead and chose Trenholm Hills in Forest Acres, South Carolina. Whoops. Okay. All right, so this is one of the neighborhoods that I have spotted. I thought I'd take a look at. And I'm going to go ahead and click search. Now make sure that you're on the All Properties tab. I'm going to click on the search. And it's going to pull up that neighborhood. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. And you can see the outline of this neighborhood. Now the first thing I'm going to do before I even take a look at numbers or anything, I'm going to make sure that I have made a copy of this, and I'm going to outline it and save it. So I'm going to come up here to the top where it says draw the shape, and I'm going to use a polygon, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline this neighborhood. Okay. Whoops. Let's try it again. Polygon. And we're going to go ahead and draw. We'll just kind of do this quickly here. Up and over, back down. And we'll just kind of cut across. Obviously, you would take a little more time than what I want to do here, but you can go ahead and see, how you can outline this whole area, and then back to the beginning. And then come down to the bottom here, and I'm going to click save because I want to save it as a custom polygon search area. So I'm going to click save here, and I'm going to change this to Trenholm Farm area. So this is definitely the area that I want to work. Maybe I live here. So this is the area that I want to farm. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now I just saved it as a custom search. The other place that you can also save it to is up here at the top, right underneath where it says create a report. You'll see save. And this is going to save it as a search. So I'm going to go ahead and just click save there. And you can see it's going to save it as the Trenholm Hills in Forest Acres, South Carolina. I can go ahead and rename that if I'd like as well. All right, so I'm going to show you how to use those in just a minute that you just did. So now I've got my area identified here. A couple of things I want to take a look at. I'm going to scroll down below, and I've got my heat maps. So I want to take a look at the 12 months change in estimated value. I want to see if the property values are going up or down. And it looks like we're kind of in that 2.5% to 5% area here. Okay. Another one that you might want to take a look at maybe is the concentration of distressed properties. And you can see we do have a high abundance over here. You could zoom in and see if there's any others. Whoops. And sometimes if you zoom in, you lose it. But anyway, all right, let's try that again. Okay, not going to let me do it. All right, another one is maybe the list price to sales price might be a good one. Maybe flood zones, but this kind of gives you an idea of what's going on in that neighborhood. All right, let me come down here. So right now I've got 293 properties that are showing up in this area. On the left-hand side, going all the way down to the bottom, you have your property types. Now I know some agents don't feel comfortable working with multifamily or farm and ranch or mobile manufactured. Maybe you only feel comfortable working with single family. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all and just check single family. So check the type of properties that you really want to start marketing to and sell. So I'm going to go ahead and select single family. If you want only properties that have at least 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you can be very specific on what properties you want to market to in your neighborhood. If you want to market to all, then all I would do is check the property type that you feel comfortable with, come back up. I'm going to click apply, and you can see I've got 289 properties. So that's a number that I'm going to write down on my paper. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I want to know the number of actives. Let me go ahead and put up here recently updated. And it's going to show me the number of actives right now in this area. So there's quite a few actives. There's even a distressed property that's for sale in this area. But I can also go through and see who the agents are. So click on the very first property here, and then I can see who the listing agent is. I can also then go into the next step and see who the listing agents are. So I can go through all of these properties and see if there's one dominant agent or are there multiples. And it looks like in this case, we pretty much have a mixed bag of agents that are in this area. So those are just a couple of things that I take a look at. Let me go back to the search results. All right, let me zoom in here. All right, the next thing I want to take a look at is the number of properties that are currently, or number of properties that have sold in the last couple of years. And I can see here, I've got a couple properties that are brand new listings, and I can see, you know, other activity in here as well. So it kind of gives me an idea what's going on in this neighborhood. So I'm going to come down here, and under the sold date area right here, I'm going to choose a date range. So I'm going to go back to 12 months. So let me go ahead and click the back arrow here. Whoops. Okay, get out of there. I'm going to go back 12 months. So let's go back to September, and I'm just going to go back to the 29th here, and then I'm going to go to today's date. So I want to look at everything that has sold within the last 12 months in this neighborhood. I'm going to come back up here and click apply, and it's going to show that I've had 11 properties that have sold in the last year. Okay, so I'm going to write that number down. Then I'm going to come back down here, and I'm going to do the same thing for the previous year. So I'm going to go back to 18, and then I'm going to change this to 19. And I can even go ahead and leave the dates, the rest of the dates as it is. So now I'm going back one more year to see what's going on. So I kind of get what's been happening over the last couple of years. And there's been 16 properties sold in that year. Now, COVID obviously has played a little, had a little influence on what's been happening this year. So now when I go ahead and do my math, the last time I pulled it up, I had 290 properties, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just go by the 290 here. And in 2018 and 19, we had 16 sold. So you're going to take those 16 properties and multiply or divide it by the 290 properties that are total in that area. And you'll come up with 0.0551 times 100 comes up to be 5.51%. So it's above 5%, so that would be good. But in 2019 and 20, which is during the pandemic, we only had 11 sold. And so we're coming up with a value of 3.79%. So again, you got to kind of take into consideration, this is not a normal year by a long shot. So if you still want to market to them, I would say go ahead. And maybe you want to go back another year to 17 and 18 and see if they're consistently selling in the 5 to 7% and above range. All right, so again, you can take a look at that. I did went ahead and did another one. Here's Allen's Mill, 300 properties. Again, you can see what the, take the 19 sold divided by the number of properties, 6.13%. Same thing with 19 to 20. So you could do this on multiple neighborhoods to find the one that you would feel comfortable doing. Again, if I wanted to pick between these two, I would probably go with Allen's Mill at this point because their numbers are a little bit higher. But I'm going to pick on Trenholm right now because everything in Allen Hills is in pending. All right. Okay, so here we are. Now, let me go ahead and go back home. So now, if the next day you're coming in and you want to see what's going on in this neighborhood, all you have to do is go over here to the saved, click on that down arrow, scroll down to the custom area here. So click on the custom area that you have saved. And I want to look at the number of properties that are for sale in this area. So I'm going to click on the for sale tab. You can put in your price range and then just hit search. And it's going to show you everything that's active in this area, or whatever tab that you decide to click on, it's going to show you what's going on in that neighborhood because you've already got it outlined. And I can see we've got 6 properties here. We've got one that's in distress, and here's one in the pending state. And then as I scroll down, I can take a look at all of those properties that are currently for sale in that market. So it just kind of keeps you posted as to the activity in your neighborhood. So again, if I want to go back home, click that down arrow, and I want to maybe go to just the all properties tab. Whoops, click on that down arrow again, go back down to your home area. And now I've got my home area, farm area in there under the all properties tab. And now when I click search, it's going to show me all of the off-market properties as well. So now I'm back down to that 293, or again, I can come back down and change my property type. Okay. All right, so that's how you can use that custom save search, which kind of makes it easy when you're going back and forth between all properties and the for sale tab. Now, the other thing is you want to know about this neighborhood. So if I come down here and I'm going to click on the very first property here, and if I come up to the top where it says neighborhood, it's going to default to the zip code in that area. But if you want to be specific and know more about what's going on in the trend home area, then go ahead and click on Find New Address. Type in Trend Home Hills in Forest Acres, South Carolina. And I can't type this morning. All right. All right, so I got Trend Home here, and I'm going to click Submit. And now it's going to give me all of the information about the neighborhood. So right now I'm on the summary tab, so I can see right now what the median estimated home value is, the change over the last month, and the change over the last 12 months. Now, when you're in the neighborhood, these are little nuggets of information that can really open the conversation door, whether you're doing an open house in the area, you're walking the neighborhood, or you're marketing to this neighborhood. Sometimes to get the homeowner to even talk to you, you have to give them a little nugget of information to break the ice, and then they can start inquiring more about what's going on in their neighborhood. So again, pick out little nuggets of information here, but you can also learn a lot too. Go ahead and read the about, the source, and how often it's updated. You can hover over and get the data on any of these. You can also take it down just to the neighborhood or base it on Richland County as well and see how it stacks up. But you have a lot of great information down here. Here's population of children by age groups, adults by age group. Looks like the majority that live in this neighborhood are in the 35 to 54 range. But if you're in a neighborhood that you see that maybe they're in the 55 to 64 plus range, and you've got some 55 plus communities that you're working or farming, maybe you can start marketing some of the people in this neighborhood to get them to move over to your 55 plus community. So there's several different ways to look at the farming, getting people to move from, 55 plus, into a 55 plus area, or even getting people to move up into, a neighborhood that maybe has more kids with their kids' ages, but using all of this demographic information, can help you market to the people that are in those areas. The housing tab is also another great place to get a lot of great information. You can see how many own versus rent. So this might be a good statistic. Did you know that everybody that lives in this neighborhood is an owner? We have no rental properties in this neighborhood. Something like that might trigger them, and then they may want to ask more questions about, well, what's the market doing in this area? Are the values going up or are they going down? I'll give you that information here in just a second. But again, take a look at all of this neighborhood. You can see the neighborhood versus Forest Acres versus Richland County. So Forest Acres does have some rentals, but Trend Home Hills does not. So again, this is interesting information. You also have the people tab too that you can go in and get the information. And a lot of this can be posted on your social media sites that can also help you bring in business too. Like we talked about back, I believe it was September 10th on Don't Blend In. Again, this is a lot of great information that you can use in your social media sites. So again, you can see the education levels, population of children by age group, households with children, income brackets. Here's occupational categories, and you can get the presidential voting pattern. And then also the economy and the quality of life. So take a look at the neighborhood tab and get some of this little nuggets of information that can help you when you're out walking your neighborhood or marketing to them. I would then also come up here and create a report. So click on that create a report, and I would come down here and choose the neighborhood report. Again, it's going to have my neighborhood in there, so they know that they're getting specific information just about their neighborhood. And then again, don't forget that you can add your custom pages. If you weren't on the one in September 10th, to add your own custom pages, they have to be in a PDF format, no larger than 10 megabytes. Come down here to where it says Manage Custom Pages. Click on that, and you can see where I've got my 2 in there. So if I want to add another one, I can go into my desktop here, my custom pages, and let's go ahead and add my green services here, and then click Open. And now you can see that's been added, and I want to put that at the end. And I can always go ahead, remember I can change the order here. I can also change out the title if I need to. Okay. Oops. Okay, there we go. And then always come down to the bottom here and click Save. So now you see that that has been added. So again, I would go ahead and send out a report. If anybody had questions about my neighborhood, wanted to know about it, this is a great report to send out to them. Personalize it, and then choose your delivery method. This is what that neighborhood report would look like. Okay, this is for the whole zip code, but you can see here it would be pretty much the same, but give you all of that information, including what's in Trend Home if you had chosen Trend Home. But it gives all the charts and graphs that I just showed you. Here's the people stats. So again, if anybody's inquiring about the neighborhood that you're farming or any neighborhood in the area, you can go ahead and do a neighborhood report, and it gives them a lot of great demographics about the area that they are interested in. So don't forget about that one. And if you're going to be marketing or walking your neighborhood, always have this one already done like I have here, so that if you meet somebody on the street and they want to know more about what's going on in that neighborhood or that zip code, you can just go ahead and pull up your phone. I'll show you how to do that and send out that report. All right, so there's the neighborhood report. Let's go back to the neighborhood here. All right, so now we've got the neighborhood report done. The other report that I recommend that you do, let me go back here. And all right, let's just go back home. Let's just start from scratch here. And let's come back down to my Trend Home area and click search. All right, so now I'm in my farm area here again. The other report that is very important when you're getting ready to farm an area or you're marketing to the people that you already know in the area, the market activity report is a report that is probably the one that I send out the most to my past clients, current clients, my listings. And so again, this just keeps them posted as to what's going on in their market. So I would again come up to that create a report. I've got my Trend Home farm area. I can always come in here and go ahead and make the change to, instead of saying Trend Home farm area, you could put in Trend, what's it called? Trend Home Hills in Forest Acres, South Carolina, and then click submit. So again, it's getting rid of what you named it, and it's showing the legal or the what the public records has. So now I've come down here to the market activity report, click on the more details. And when I'm contacting the people in my farm area, again, every 3 to 4 weeks, so I always ask them, do you want to know what's going on in the market on a quarterly basis or twice a year, 6 months and a year? And I give that option to them. So let's say they want to do it every 3 months. So again, I would set it up and select the pages that I want, hover over, you can see what pages are going to look like. And then I would come down here and make the changes and show them every 3 months that I'm going to be sending the information on what has happened in the last 3 months. Select the change types. So in this case, we've got price changes coming in here. Anything else that you want to add in, you can. Then select the property types. Maybe you're only working with single family, so that's all you want to show. But if you want to show any of the others, you have that option to really customize it based on what your clients are looking for. All right. And then you can do that value range. So if you're only comfortable working with properties that are listed between the 200 and 600 price range, then you might want to just show those properties. Again, bedrooms, bathrooms, so on, living square footage. Put in the ranges that you want, or you can go ahead and leave those blank. So I can go ahead and take those out, and then it's going to show everything that's available over the last 3 months. You can then have your maximum property status, 10, 20, or 50. I'm just going to show 10. But if you have a lot of activity in this neighborhood, you may want to put it down to 50. It's still going to only show what has occurred in those last 3 months. And it may not be, it may be somewhere between 10 and 20 or between 20 and 50. So again, use your judgment on that. And then sort your properties anywhere from recently updated all the way down to days active, however you want to do that. I've kind of fluctuated between the 2 days active in RPR and recently updated. Again, it's up to you on how you want to do that. And then I always personalize it. So if this is for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then I would type in some kind of a message to them. Here is your quarterly report for Trend Home Hills and Forest Acres. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. You know, so something like that, I would definitely type in some kind of a message, a call to action to get them to contact you. And then I would obviously email that out to them. Now you will have to collect the email addresses. So sometimes when you're walking down the street, and I would usually pick a street at a time when I'm farming, I would have some of these market activity reports already printed off and ready to go, and neighborhood reports just to show them what they are. Sometimes I only just did one. And then if I met somebody on the street in that neighborhood and they wanted to have one, then I would capture their contact information, whether it's their email or their phone number, whether they wanted it by email or by text message. So it's a great way to capture their contact information so that you can continue sending this report out to them. I'm just going to go ahead and do display now and then click run report. And it's going to show you the report and it will be running. Now this is the market activity report, and I did do it for the Trend Homes saved area so you can see what that looks like. But it outlines the area and it has all of your contact information, all of your extra pages. And then you always want to go in and check. If you choose something smaller than your zip code, always go in and make sure that there is enough data that shows up to send that report out. Sometimes if you get into a small neighborhood that you're working, there may not be enough data to really send it out, and then you may have to go to a zip code. All right, so you can see here what the estimated home values are in this area and how the values are going up over the last month, quarter, 12 months, and 24. Here is the 12 months change in estimated value. Always shows the outline here. And then the change over the last 12 months, 24 and 27. Again, they're all going up in this area. Here's the concentration of distressed properties. Right now, we currently have 2 foreclosures in that area. And then you've got your sales price. So you can see over the last month, they went up, but over the last quarter, they went down almost 10%. Of course, that was during the height of the COVID. So that's something you can also address when you're sending out this information to them, just to remind them of some of the things that have been occurring on the in the area at that time. 12 months change, and then the 24. And then you've got the list price. So here's the median list price, change over the last month, last quarter, 12 months, and 24 months. And then here's the activity stats. So it breaks it down by the different statuses, and then the different categories here on the left-hand side, the number of properties, and then the values. And then they get the list of all the new listings. So here's 3 new listings, a little thumbnail. So again, this is a good report to send out to anybody that's looking to move into this area. Maybe you've got buyers that you're currently working with. If you have listings that are in this area, this is a great report to send out. So anytime I had a listing that was in my farm area or any area that I had a listing, I would send out this report to them on a weekly basis. So every Friday or Monday, they would get a market activity report from me on the activity in their neighborhood. And it just kind of kept them posted. And at the time when we had to sometimes overprice the property and then all of a sudden the market goes down the other direction, you know, we had to lower the price. And so by sending this report out, I was able to justify why I wanted to lower the price, because they would start seeing some of these properties that are currently changing prices and going down. Maybe it's the same floor plan or same price as what they are currently at, and now they're lower. So it kind of gives them that incentive that maybe they need to lower the price as well. So this is a great report to send out to them. All right, so once you have that report generated here, let me go back up to the top here. If you're going to send it out on a weekly basis, all you have to do, remember, I think we covered this in the very first one at the beginning of the month, just click on that orange plus sign, and you can go ahead and rerun that report and it will update it. So if you're doing it every week, you can update this just by clicking rerun. You don't have to start from scratch. It's going to remember everything that you did and it will just regenerate with all the new information. So that's all you have to do. Now, if you're sending this out quarterly, you are going to have to go in and start from scratch, just like I showed you, and generate a new report out to them. But in your CRM or your database, if you can group all of the ones that currently live in the Trenholm Hills area, then you could send out one report to all 13 people that you already know in that area, you know, with a blind copy, and then there, you know, one email, blind copy everybody, and then you have that report sent out to multiple people in that area. So in your CRM, always make sure that you have identified everybody that you've sold properties to, currently living in, and maybe haven't sold to, but know what their neighborhood is, and then you can start farming that way as well. So just because you're farming a neighborhood, don't forget about the ones that you've already sold to. Keep them in the loop as well. And again, the market activity report is a great way to stay in touch with them. Okay, let's go back to the search results. Also, if you're getting ready to also go out and walk a street, so if I zoom in here a little bit, let me zoom in. So let's say we're going to go down this street here, and there is a new listing on this street, right? So if I click on that, I can see the name of the street, I can see the address. And if you're going to be walking down that street, you may be running into other people on that street that want to talk to you about, okay, I see we have a new listing. Can you tell me a little bit about that? So you can go ahead and pull up the details and have a report already done if they want a copy of what's that house. Maybe it's the same house as what they're living in, same floor plan, and they want to know a little bit more about what they have done. You can always create a report prior to going out, so it's already done, and either do the property report or the mini. And I kind of recommend the mini property report, and then just let them know if they want more information about this property, that you could go ahead and send them the property report. So it gives them another reason to contact you if they need more information. I always start off with a smaller amount, and hopefully they'll contact me and want more information. So again, click on that mini. You've got your custom pages. You've got all the other pages in here that you want to include or not include. And then you also have the number of photos. If you want to choose all, you could do all. I'm just going to do 2 pages. And then you can also suppress the estimated value or the refined value if you've done that. And then again, come down, personalize it, and then choose your delivery method. I'm just going to hit run report. So prior to going out walking my neighborhood, I always generate any property that have just recently come on the market. I will do a neighborhood report, and I will also do a market activity report that day before I go out. Okay, so I have all of those done and in here. Okay, So before I go out, I want to show you one more thing. Let's go back to the property details here, and let's go back to the search results. The other thing I want to point out also is if you're going to be mailing out to everybody that's in your farm area, up here at the top, you're going to notice we have mailing labels. And if you click on the mailing labels, cannot export records. Unfortunately, you guys are in an area where we cannot do that. If that ever changes, you do have access to that. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can go ahead and walk our farm. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my phone here. And down in the lower left-hand corner is RPR. So I'm just going to tap on that. And again, based on your GPS, it's going to know exactly where you're at. And so I'm in the Forest Acres area here, and I'll show you how I did that. So I'm in Arizona right now. Here are the properties that are within 1 mile of me. And I'll show you how you can change that because the default is a half a mile. I find that living in a metropolitan area or a bigger area, I like to go out a mile. I can see more of what's going on in that neighborhood. So I like to change it to a mile, and I'll show you how to do that here. So right now, there's 30 properties for sale right around me, 13 new listings, 51 recently sold, 1 distressed, and 1 for lease. If I slide my screen one more side to the side, I can now see what the median estimated value is in this neighborhood, what the median list price is, what the median sales price, and this is all coming from listing data from your MLS, and then also the price change over the 12 months change, which has gone up 7.2% in this 1 mile radius area. And then the median days is 60 in RPR. And if you go one more time, you have a third screen where you can do searches, your listings. If you need to access your listings, you can click on that. You've got market activity area here, schools, keyword search, owner name or APN or parcel numbers. All right, and then you go either direction. So it doesn't make a difference which way you go, you have those 3 screens. In the upper left-hand corner, you've got the gear, that yellow gear in the upper left-hand corner. If you tap on that, it takes you into all of your settings. Let's go back here. Sometimes it does that on my phone. There we go. We're in the settings. Come down here to where it says user settings. That's where you want to go. And you can see that I have changed my location to Columbia, South Carolina, in that zip code. So I'm overwriting my location. So again, you guys can do the same thing. If you're in one zip code and you want to go to another zip code, that will give you the data then for that particular area, or even neighborhoods if you wanted to go down to a neighborhood. I could have put in Trenholm Hills in here, and it would also take me right into that neighborhood as well. And then here's the net nearby. So again, the default is a half mile, but you can take it all the way up to 10 miles. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine at a mile. You can also set your new listings. So if you're working with a lot of buyers right now and inventory is low, you may want to take that 30 days down to a smaller number so you can see every day when you go into RPR and you check, you can see what new listings have just come on the market. And then you can send out a report to that client and hopefully get them to preview and then write the offer before everybody else does. So again, based on your market, you have several options here, anywhere from 1 day all the way up to 30 days. And you're recently sold, anywhere from 7 days all the way up to 180 days. So again, you can see what the defaults are here. I'm going to go ahead and just tap here on that blue area, and it will save everything and take me right back now down there. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna click on the properties for sale here. And if you zoom in to the area where you're going to be walking, let's go ahead and find this area here. All right, so let's say this is the area that we're going to be walking, and hit search. And now I can see everything that's going on in this area. So again, it will go with you, but now I can see the properties. So if I'm going down this street right here, here's my Pamlico Drive, and I'm walking down the street and someone says, hey, there's a new listing down the street. Can you tell me a little bit about that property? So again, you can just zoom into the area here, click always up at the top, redo search in this area. And you can click on this little property, the inn, and open it up, and then click on the picture. And now I can give them all of the information about that property that they want to know. This one has 1,890 square feet. It started off at 297.9, and we're at 297.9. So again, you've got all of the data right here coming from your MLS right into RPR. I can also tap on a picture, and if they want to see the pictures, I can hold my screen with my mask on. If we're standing on the street, I can scroll through and look at the pictures so they can see that. If they want a report on this particular property, they want to know more about it, I can come down to the bottom here and click on reports. If I've already done a report, which I did just do here, all I have to do is click share. This disclosure pops up. I click continue. And now I can go ahead and do it by text message or by email, whichever they're willing to give me. Let's say it's type text message, click on that. You can see that report is in there. I can add a comment, type in their phone number, and then click send. I'm just gonna hit cancel. If you choose the mail or Gmail or however you wanna send it, you can just tap on mail. Again, that report automatically is generated, put in a title, put in their email address, and then hit that send. All right, cancel. So we make it very easy to send out any of our reports from here. You can always view the report too and show them what the report looks like. So here's the report that I can send you. It has my welcome letter, and then it tells you all about the property. Here's all the home facts. Here's the extended home facts, the interior and exterior features. Here's the pictures the listing agent put in. And then here's the property history and so on. And if they want a copy, then you could go ahead and come up here to the top and click on that little box with the arrow and do the same thing, either by text message or by email. So by already generating those reports, it just makes it very easy to share when you're on the street and you're talking to the people. I'm always going, or I used to go to a lot of parties where I live in my neighborhood, and they would always ask me about properties down the street that just sold or just listed. And I would pull it up and send the report to them right then and there, right on the spot, right from my phone. Okay, so let's go back. And I'm gonna go back one more time up here at the top left. All right, so now they're saying, okay, now there's a property over there on Crystal Drive. I'm not sure the address, but it was just listed. Did they get that property sold? All I have to do is, again, go to my map, find that property, click on it, and now I can go ahead and open it up and find out everything that they want to know about that property. Here's all that recently sold information. I can see when the sold date was, how many days in RPR it was, and anything else that they want to know about that property. Let me hit that back arrow again. So everything is right here at your fingertips. If there's a property, let's say we're talking to the neighbor right next door to the one on that we just looked at that's listed, and we're talking to this homeowner. So how Claire Biznano-Chesnoff does this, she usually has a team of 3 people going out. So 2 people would go up to the door, 1 person would stay back on the sidewalk, and they would pull up the property that they are at. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up here. And they would be standing on the doorstep talking to the homeowner, and the homeowner is asking them questions about the neighborhood and so on. And of course, the guy or the gal out on the sidewalk is pulling up the information and then letting them know the answers to what they are asking. So in this case, this is a homeowner that is currently not on the market, but they're thinking about maybe getting their home on the market. And they could go ahead and say, well, your market value right now is 237,060. Whoops. Have you done anything to your home since you owned it? And if they have, again, you can come down to the bottom here and click on notes. And this is what that person out on the sidewalk would be doing, is taking notes on what the homeowner is telling them. So up here, I would click on add a note. And then I would go ahead and type, let's say, updated kitchen in June of 2019, and we spent $15,000. So again, you can put all this information in, and it's going to stay in this. And when you go back to the desktop, or even on here, you could do a CMA and then send them a copy of the CMA based on the value once they've added all of this into their property. And then just come down and hit save. So it's a great way to take notes on any property that you've learned. Anytime you meet somebody on the street, take a note, and then you can always go back and do the research and then send them a CMA or whatever they do need. Let me go back to, we can add a note. You can also take a photo. So if there's like, let me go back to the property here. You can see that this property has never been in the MLS because we have the overhead view. So again, if I wanted to come back down to notes and I wanted to take a photo, add the photo, I could take a picture of the front of the house and add that in so that I can remember what the house looks like rather than having that overhead view. All you have to do is click on take a photo, and then again, with that property pulled up, it's going to automatically go into that property's account. Okay? It does not go into the MLS. It does not go back to the public records. It just stays in your RPR account, and then later on, you can use that even as a photo for the cover of your reports when you send them out. Okay? I'm not going to take a picture of the inside of my house, so I'm going to forget that. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the X here in the upper right-hand corner. So again, you know, when you're working with other agents that are going out with you, it's a lot more fun doing it with someone else. I always walk neighborhoods, even here in the Phoenix area. I did it with one or two other people. We had a lot of fun. We met a lot of interesting people. We always got invited to the house for, you know, a glass of iced tea or lemonade. Or whatever time of year it was. Sometimes we went in, sometimes we didn't. You know, it just depends on you and your comfort level. So again, you know, have some fun with this, but always remember to bring plenty of market activity reports with you or neighborhood reports. It's just a great way to break the ice, to show them, here is a report that I can send you on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly, but it's a great way to get their contact information. So again, always go with a fully charged phone, a fully charged tablet if you're going to be using that, so that you're always prepared to answer anybody's questions that you meet when you're out farming the area. Okay. Any questions on anything I've covered so far? I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to hit that back arrow here. Oops. And back arrow again. So again, you have information. Anytime you saved a property, it's going to show you that you saved the property. You have all the different statuses here on your map. Anytime you move the map around, just hit redo search and it's going to change it. So if you saved a property, you can go ahead and tap on that as well. And then you can always open it up and go in and take a look at it. Now, the other thing is when you save a property, let me go ahead and unsave this one. Okay. And when you want to save it, let's say, for instance, you have encountered this one and it's a for sale by owner. I'm going to come back down and click on that star. And I'm going to go ahead and put in FSBO, contact, and then click save with a custom name. All right. So I've identified that this is a for sale by owner. They stuck their sign in the yard. Maybe I could go ahead and start marketing to them, helping them get their home sold. They're also going to need to move to someplace else. So maybe I could get the buyer side of this if they don't already have an agent, which is a question you'll need to ask. So again, there's a lot of things that you can do. Just kind of think out of the box on how you can best get business. Whoops, sorry about that. I thought I had muted everything. Do not disturb, sorry. But anyway, if this is a property that I want to go ahead and do a CMA on and market to them, again, you can come down here and do it right on the phone, right at the house if they want to know what their property is worth. Click on Create a CMA. And then you can see all the public. Here's the listing. And then you can also make your own changes if something is not right here. I'm just going to hit next in the upper right-hand corner. Then you can see all the properties that can be used here. You can click on any one of these properties. So if I want to use this property down here for 230, just tap on it. I can add that to my comps, so I can click on that. If there's a property that is not on the market right now, which is the gray, and you want to use it, just tap on it. You can open it up, take a look at it to see, okay, is this really one that I want to use? If it is, then I could go ahead and tap on that again and add to the comps. If you want to add a property that's on the market, you can add those to the comps as well. So again, you have full control right here, selecting the different comps that you want. You can also go up to the top and click on list, and then you can go ahead and add to the comps this way as well. And you can see how many comps that you have added. Click next in the upper right hand corner here once you've selected them. You can put them in the order. So if you want to maybe use Sylvan as the very first one, you can click the down arrow here, and then down at the bottom, change that to the position that you want, and then click done. So again, now you see Sylvan is in that first position. You can compare the properties. So how does this property compare to the subject property? So again, take that little slider and move it either up or down based on your knowledge, or maybe that neighbor, they've got some ideas. But again, you can do that with all of them. You can also add notes here, so you can put in some kind of notes about the property and then hit done. So you can add notes and then come up and click next. And it's going to give you the average of your comps. And you can always go ahead and click on that little pencil there and then put in a recommended price, or you can put in a range, either way. So let's say we could list the property anywhere from 210 to 250, and then click done. And then down at the bottom, you always want to make sure you hit save. And now I have saved it, so I've got my range. I'm going to hit get report, and what it's going to do, it's going to remember what pages I've included in the last report that I sent out, and it automatically sends out those same pages to this particular homeowner. So now I click exit reports, and that report now is generated and being sent off to them. Also, I want to point out also, if you have properties that you have saved, if you come up here to the little gear and you want to be notified anytime that there's a change in one of those saved properties, click on notifications here and we'll send you notifications. Always make sure you hit allow. It will, any saved properties, you'll get status change, whether it's going from active to pending or sold, or the listing price changes, or the estimated value, the RVM or the AVM changes. You can get a notification on those properties. Same way with your listings. Anytime a new listing comes into RPR, you're going to get notified that new listing is now in RPR. And then anytime the RVM or AVM changes, you'll get a notification on any of your listings. And then anytime a report is generated, and if you don't want to wait for it, it's going to notify you when those reports have generated, and you can click on it and access it right from there. So that would be a great thing to turn on so that you get those notifications on any of the properties. All right. Hopefully that's giving you guys some ideas on farming. Again, you can always come back home here All of your reports that you have generated are going to be right here. Seller's report is ready that we just did on that FSBO contact. Here's the property on Plimco. Here's the Trend Homes market activity, and I can go ahead and download those, review them, and then also send them out. Again, you can go ahead and click on the reports, click on the right click on the address, copy the link address, and then send it out to your clients. That's another great way to send those out to them if you don't want to use your phone. All right. So now, recap, we talked about the marketability. So we showed you how to go back and look at all the properties that have sold in the last couple of years, and then how to take the number of properties sold, divide it by the number of properties in the neighborhood, multiply that times 100 to come up with your turnover rate. How to create a customized area and save it, and then how you can use that on the different categories up above, whether it's the all properties tab or the new listings, or even the market activity area. You could do the same thing there. How to use the RPR app to get answers on the go to anybody that asks questions. We also looked at the reports and the market updates, how you can look at that, and then also how to customize, your information and send those out in the reports. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do today is go ahead and locate a farm area in your area and then calculate the turnover rate while it's still fresh in your mind on how we did that. If you go into RPR, you can do it through your MLS or just go to narrpr.com on the website on the browser. I recommend using either Safari or Chrome. And then all things RPR, blog.narrpr.com. All of our resources are there, all of our training materials, resources. So do check that out under the Learning tab. If you do need help, you can contact us at this number. We're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our support links are at the bottom of every page on the desktop. And then also connect with us on RPR. We have a lot of great agents on there, and a lot of learning is going on in that area. So do check that out. If you do go to the blog, blog.narrpr.com, you'll see all of our resources. Click on Learning up at the top. We have live webinars that you can sign up, watch now. All of our classes have been recorded. I know this one's being recorded too, will be sent out to you. You can do the watch now, tutorials, ebooks, quick start guides, and then the wow factor. If you guys haven't seen any of the wow factor, this is fantastic information. So do check that out also. If you go into the tutorials, you can always filter it over here on the left-hand side, and then it will pull up exactly what you're looking for. And then just click on that, and then you can go ahead and watch any of our little mini videos down at the bottom or any of these up here at the top. All right. Thank you, Carrie and Phyllis. Great comments. Any other questions that I can answer before we leave you today? I hope this has been helpful. Hopefully I've given you some ideas on how to farm even in the crazy times that we're going through right now. I appreciate all the comments. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Dennis. All right, if there aren't any other questions, Lori, do you have anything you want to say? Mike or Sharon? Thank you, Pamela.
All good on this end. Oh, looks like you do have one quick question.
This is a free service through NAR, correct? Absolutely, John. NAR or RPR, Realtors Property Resource, is a member benefit. So you get this, you've basically paid for it through your dues. So you have access to this. As long as you're a member of NAR, you will have access to this information, which means that the public does not have access to this because they're not a member of NAR. This is just strictly for you guys to use as realtors to help you look more professional and to get the information out to everybody that you know or is asking for the information. So RPR is basically here to make your job easier and your life a little bit easier in the real estate world. I know it does mine, so hopefully it will yours as well.
And Joe, this is Lori, everyone. Hello. I just want to mention that in the chat, we've put a few links to the RPR Learning Center where you'll find a quick start guide, that tells you how to calculate turnover. There's an on-demand webinar if you'd like to hear this again. Um, there's an ebook and video tutorials, short little chunks of video tutorials where you can pick the topic, like setting up a farm area that you're most interested in refreshing your memory on.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for the 5 C's of successful farming. Good luck, everybody, and stay safe and have a great rest of the week.
And yes, Phyllis, go to the App Store and you can download the app.